with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. We got beards, so listen clear. Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cause. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's cool.
Welcome to the third episode of the Geeks with Beards podcast. I'm your host, Dan, and my co-host, Sean. How's it going, Sean?
What's up, man?
Not too bad. How about you? We've been reading anything good this week?
I've not read anything this week. I did watch... I'm caught up on The Acolyte as of yesterday.
Okay, cool. I know nothing about that, man. I haven't watched any of the TV shows except for 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and that's it for me.
All right, here's the deal.
Okay.
I'm not going to shit on it like everybody else does.
Yeah.
Because of the whole woke whatever they're going on about. But I will say the production quality, not great, man.
Okay.
Not great at all. It feels like a TV movie, like of the 90s kind of quality.
Right.
The writing, The story, The acting, not great.
I've read a few things where, like, the main actress, the main star, that she's just kind of no emotions to her face. Even when she's playing, you know, the good character or the evil sister, for what I'm going to say. Yeah. Basically the same look on both characters' faces. Like, she has no way of turning one character on and one character off, basically.
Yeah, I would say that's for most of the actors. They look like they're cardboard acting. Okay. It's just blank.
Just blank face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they do the whole just eyes open, looking straight at the screen thing. Like, I'm not an actor. I don't claim to be one, but come on, guys.
No, but you've seen enough Star Wars and movies and TV shows to know good acting from mediocre acting.
That's what bums me out so much about it, is because I have watched, last year I watched every single Star Wars media there was.
Yeah, you're between the both of us, you're the bigger Star Wars fan.
And I really wanted to like this show. Like, really wanted to like it. I'm like, all right, this looks cool. And then I get there, I'm like, this ain't so cool. But they got more episodes left. Maybe they'll turn it around.
Is it 10 episodes like most of them are?
I don't know.
8 or 10?
I would imagine so. I just finished episode 6, and it's starting to get a little bit better. I watched it twice just so I wasn't just shitting on it, but it is still rough.
So for listeners that don't know what it's about, can you give us a quick little breakdown of the overall kind of plot of the series?
So without spoiling it, I would say it takes place 100 years before Phantom Menace.
Okay.
And it's taking place with the focus being on the Jedi.
Okay.
The High Council and all that stuff. The basic premise is you have twins, and one of the Jedi went to their planet to save them, pick them up, you know, because the Jedi takes...
They take them young, right? They train them young.
Basically, they're cradle robbers. That's how they roll.
Well, they're a little bit older than I think babies, though.
Yeah, not always.
Not always?
Not always.
Okay.
In some of the stuff I've read. So one goes good, and then they think the other one's dead, and she kind of turns to the dark side.
Okay.
So it follows them two and their journey from there. Sounds like a good premise for a show.
I was going to say, I mean, it kind of sounds like a decent premise. Yeah, so I guess the bad sister, the dark side sister, is she kind of on a revenge mission?
Yes.
Kind of, basically?
And that's how the first episode starts out.
Okay.
So, and it just goes from there.
Okay. Yeah, I've only seen trailers and a few YouTubers talk about it. So, yeah, I have very, very basic knowledge of what the show is about.
Which, if they do it right, I know it's not canon anymore, but they could bring in Darth Plagueis at some point. That was the guy that Sidious was talking about to Anakin in episode 3.
Oh, okay.
Like his master.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, Yoda could potentially show up because he's like 900 years old.
I was going to say, he could show up.
They haven't dealt with the actual, like, main council. It's just been like this kind
of sub ones, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what I've been doing, is just cringing.
I mean, they did bring Hayden Christensen back in for Ahsoka.
They did.
Anakin. So, I mean, there's that possibility, at least for Yoda, for sure.
Yeah.
Because time-wise, everybody else would not be born yet, since it's Anakin. Yeah. No, it's 100 years. I'm sorry.
100 years before that.
See, listeners, I didn't pay attention. But, so, yeah, for sure, Yoda could pop up.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to see him. CGI Yoda again, because I loved it in the prequels. especially when him and Dooku went fighting.
Oh,
you know,
that's one of my favorite scenes.
I think I remember the theater just blowing up.
Yeah.
Because like, oh my god, we've never seen Yoda move like this before.
Yeah.
So yeah, my knowledge of Star Wars, real quick, is the 3 original films, the prequel films, Force Awakens, Last Jedi. I stopped at Last Jedi. It broke me. So I didn't even try Rise of Skywalker. I know basically what it's about, but I didn't even watch that.
Yeah.
And if you like it, totally cool. We're not ragging on it or anything like that. As far as like saying, oh, our opinion's better than yours. No,
It's just not for us.
this is just our personal opinion on this stuff. Like I said, Sean is a bigger Star Wars person, so I'll take his word and I'll trust him on his opinion of Star Wars stuff. So if he says Acolyte's not really worth watching, then I'm not watching it.
I'll say at this point it's not.
At this point. And they've done, you said 6 episodes?
Yeah.
So anywhere from 2 to 3 more, probably?
I would imagine so.
Or 3
yeah.
or 4, something like that? Okay.
Yeah. And if anybody wants Star Wars to watch, they're just a casual fan, I'd say start with the Clone Wars animated series.
Oh, yes.
It's so great.
Oh, yes, definitely.
It's,
That I have
To me,
watched.
it's better than most of the movies.
Yeah. I remember watching the movie and then the series. I didn't watch all of the series, but I watched a decent hunk of it, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
All right, Dan, what you been up to?
Well, I finally got some comic books to read in the past couple of weeks since our last episode. Of course, the Energon Universe stuff I read, the G.I. Joe comics and everything. Got the first issue of Scarlet and Destro. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, you read these comics, you know how good they are. They're just, it's like I said before, it's Skybound's way of building their G.I. Joe universe, their Energon universe, and incorporating Transformers. And it's definitely G1 inspired for sure. All the Transformers look basically G1 from the 80s. All the G.I. Joe characters basically look like they did in the 80s, So that's been great. I love those 2 books. I also picked up Gotcha Man, and it is based on a 1970s anime. Never seen it whatsoever. Kind of Power Rangers, sort of, because it's got 5 members, and they all have bird-inspired outfits that they wear. I can't name all the birds. I apologize for that. I thought I'd pick the comic up just to see how it was, and I love the comic. It's great. So it's just the first issue. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. I think that's been it for comics. As far as TV goes or anything like that, watching, nothing. There's nothing been on right now. Haven't done anything since last time I said I watched Godzilla vs. Kong. Or excuse me, Godzilla and Kong, New Empire. I did pick up the new Ghostbusters movie. I just haven't watched it yet.
Sweet.
I know a lot of people didn't like Afterlife. They said a lot of fan service. Well, yeah. Give me the
loved it.
Give me the fan service. After 2016's Ghostbusters, damn yes, give me fan service from the original 2 films. And a lot of people didn't like Ghostbusters 2. I get it. It's not as good as the first film. And I think a lot of the guys didn't want to come back. They kind of want to do one and done in 84. I get that too. But I like the original 2 films. Like Afterlife. Made me cry at the end. Yeah. So we'll see how Frozen Empire. I've heard both good and bad on Frozen Empire. So I'm going to try to watch that within the next week or so. And I should have a little bit of a review for that next episode. We can talk about that.
I was thoroughly surprised with Afterlife. I thought it was really good.
It was. And what they did with, I think, honoring Harold Ramis and Egon, because the way they made him look like an older Egon. Not as how Harold Ramis looked when he was older. Because when he got older, he gained a little weight. He was a little heftier of a fella than what you remember from the Ghostbusters movies. He had passed away from cancer. I don't know the specific cancer, but I know he passed away from cancer. So I believe that they did a really honorable thing by not making him look like real life Harold Ramis at that age and making him look like Egon, an older Egon character. And yeah, that's what broke me. I was good for most of the movie, and then at the very end scene, spoilers if nobody's seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, but at the end scene when the other 3 original Ghostbusters show up to help the kids out, Egon manifests himself and helps out. And they did a really good job CGing over the actor's face and body and everything that stood in for him. I don't remember his name. Yeah, he looked amazing. And as soon as they showed that, it broke me. Yeah, I cried. Whether it's the rose-tinted nostalgia glasses that kicked in or whatever, I don't care. It's what I wanted and I got it. I'm hoping Frozen Empire continues that. Not the biggest Paul Rudd fan, but he's pretty good. He's pretty good in Afterlife, and I liked him in Ant-Man.
He was awesome in Ant-Man.
It wasn't good in Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, but it was his old days though. But I guess we'll get into it.
All right.
This episode we are covering IDW's Transformers vs. The Terminator. This was released in 2020. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and it's really, really good. Now, this is the first time you've ever read a Transformers comic, wasn't it?
Correct.
And what'd you think about it?
Actually, it was well written for a Transformers comic.
What's that mean for a Transformers comic? Come on.
I didn't know what to expect. That's really what I mean.
No, I get that, man. Yeah, there's hit and misses with Transformers comics. I agree with that one.
Well, that's with any comic, but this in particular, I thought going into it, I was like, I didn't know if I should expect the cartoon or the movie or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I didn't want to tell you what to expect. I basically just said, take the basic storyline of the original Terminator movie and throw Transformers into that universe.
okay, that fits.
That's all I wanted to tell you. I didn't want to say, it looks this certain way or it looks this certain way. I want you to go into it blind and just see what you thought about it. So we'll start off issue 1, and this is a cool cover. This was cover A. You could get multiple covers. Anybody collects comic books, especially if you go on Atomic Empire or anywhere else, you can collect different covers. This was cover A, which is all black cover, red font, and it's a picture of Optimus Prime when half of his face is completely blasted off, and it's the Terminator endoskeleton underneath it.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool cover. And this was a collaboration with Dark Horse Comics, because I guess at the time they had the rights for the Terminator.
That's right.
At the comic, and I don't know now. It's like I said, this was 2020. I don't know about now if it is or not. And it was let's see. The story was by David. I'm gonna butcher this name. I butcher names terribly. David Mariotte, Tom Waltz, and John Barber. And John Barber was, at this time, he was huge with Transformer comic books as far as writing stories. Yeah. Written by John Barber and David Mariotte. I'm probably butchering that name. Art by Alex Milne. Oh, Alex Milne's artwork. It's amazing artwork. But yeah, Alex Milne, him and Nick Roche were two of the main artists for Transformer comics in the IDW years.
Okay.
And their art differs a little bit, but not a whole lot. Both of them are kind of stylized, as you saw here with Milne's artwork. It's kind of stylized a little bit, So we open up, and it's Los Angeles 2029, and we have this dude running at you on the top of the page here, and you don't know who it is. Well, you probably have an idea, but most people probably didn't know. And then you see a picture. He's hiding behind a car. And if you're a Transformers fan, you know who the car is. It's Jazz. He's in vehicle form, but I think he's dead. He's got like 4 holes in the hood. He's been shot up. He's laying on the side. Then spotlights capture this guy. At this moment, we don't know exactly who it is. He goes running. You flip over the next page. Boom. Big splash page. And the title, Enemy of My Enemy, Part 1. And you just see this page of just destruction. Buildings destroyed. You see Transformers laying on the ground that have been destroyed. Let's see, you've got Bumblebee, I think Cliff Jumper. That's the only ones I can make out at the moment. But yeah, so there's just Transformer bodies laying everywhere. And of course, you've got the Skynet, the robot ships flying around.
It's like a post-apocalyptic.
It is,
world.
yeah. It's basically the Terminator. It's 2029, so it's basically the Terminator future, where the Terminators have taken over and, basically waged war against humanity. But this is different. This time, it'll be explained to you in a little bit later, but you find out that the Terminators were created by the humans to fight another foe that the humans could not fight off on their own. So we go into the lead character. He goes to this building, this facility, and you find out that it's the Skynet Omega base, last stronghold of the Resistance. And you find out that the guy is a Terminator. And basically, I think he's supposed to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was going to ask that. It's like, is this... Because he doesn't really look like...
He doesn't, no. There is one cover, I think it's issue 4, and it's more of a Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I took from it. It's supposed to be sort of Arnold's character, even though he's not drawn that way. It's because, probably couldn't get his likeness rights.
Yeah.
For a comic book. Arnold's probably like, no. You must pay me a lot of money. Terrible Arnold impersonation. But anyway,
would this be good Arnold or bad Arnold? Because in Terminator 2, he was a good guy. Terminator 1, he was a bad guy.
This would be... From the looks of Sarah Connor in here, I would assume this would be from the first one. So I guess bad. Okay. I guess. But with the Transformers in the story, it changes it up so he's not aiming for Sarah Connor like he was in the movie. But yeah, it's based off the '84 movie. Okay. I think, even though he does kind of have the, let me see, No, yeah, no, it's more the 84 look. Yeah, I thought for a minute it was some of the 92, but no, it's the 84 look. Yeah. Okay, so we turn the page. He's getting ready to get sent back in time. Of course, he's got stripped down naked. I don't know. Clothes just doesn't travel in time, I guess. So they got to be butt naked when they travel in time.
It's part of the Terminator contract.
It is. Yeah.
I'll be nude.
I'll be nude. So he's getting ready to go back in time. Boom, you turn the page. Here come the Decepticons, led by Starscream. You have Starscream, you have Thundercracker, you have Skywarp, you have the Insecticons. Now this is where Milne's artwork was praised by Transformers fans back in 2020.
That's a good scene.
It's just the artwork is just amazing. It's very intricate, so many panels and lines. It's not your basic blocky G1 cartoon, you know. Definitely stylized. So the Decepticons, they know what's going to happen. They have an idea what's getting ready to happen, so they attack the stronghold. Insecticons break through. The Terminators just start unleashing gunfire on them. So you got the Decepticons fighting the Terminators. The Decepticons kind of get an upper hand, you know, because they're bigger. They're bigger robots than the Terminators, you know. The Terminators aren't indestructible. Transformers aren't either, but they got the upper hand. And so they beat back the Terminators. Starscream makes it down a kind of corridor, and he sees the one Terminator. We'll say Arnold. We'll just for problem figuring out a name for him. We'll just say Arnold. Starscream notices him down the hallway getting ready to time travel. So he goes running, and the Terminator sees him. You see the red vision. If anybody's watched the Terminator's movies, anytime the Terminator you've seen from his point of view, it was always red with different little numbers and gauges and stuff on it.
Where he's scanning the environment.
Yeah, where he's scanning, yeah. Kind of Predator vision, I guess you could say. So he sees Starscream coming, a whole bunch of numbers. It says, Objective 4, destroy the Cybertronian threat before it emerges. So Starscream just misses him. He looks like he's trying to reach for him. He just misses him as he travels back in time. And Starscream's like, oh, he's gone. Same difference, you know, we ain't got to deal with him. And Starscream basically destroys the time machine. And he says, Skynet dies tonight. And then we see a lonely alleyway, which is, again, that's a Terminator thing. It's always in an alleyway somewhere. How they pinpoint where the hell they're going to land, I have no idea.
Well, it's like, all right, I'm going back naked, but could you get me around where there's nobody at?
Yeah, and it was funny because, like, Arnold, I think in the first movie, Arnold did pop up, and I don't think there was anybody around. He walks up to these three guys, I want your clothes. He just kills them and takes the clothes.
Were they bikers? Is that right?
I don't know if they were bikers or just punkers.
Okay.
1984, you know, they had like the spikes and the jacket and stuff like that. So punkers or bike, yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. Bill Paxton was in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
A young Bill Paxton. Bless his heart, he was killed by a Terminator, he was killed by a Predator, and he was killed by an alien. He was in Predator 2 and died, and he was in Aliens, 1986, sequel to Alien, and he died by an alien attack.
He made up for it in Independence Day.
And Twister.
And Twister. You got to see a cow fly.
It's the same cow. No. So Arnold he finally pops up in the past. Los Angeles, 1984. He pops up near, it looks like it's, what would that be? Is that like Big Boy?
I was going to say Big Boy.
I think it's Big Boy, but it's not called Big Boy because, again, probably, you know, trademark and...
Austin Powers owns it.
Yeah, all that stuff like that. It's called Big Jeff. It's called Big Jeff.
Everybody loves a Big Jeff.
So Naked Arnold, he's walking up to the Big Jeff restaurant. He's like, no access to Skynet. He's like, hello, flesh bag, because he doesn't know that it's an inanimate object. He thinks it's a huge human. So then we cut to the inside of the diner. A whole bunch of customers in there just talking about different stuff. And there's a news report coming on that says, eruption imminent in Oregon as police evacuate residents from the otherwise quiet. And then it cuts. First time Mount St. Hilary has erupted since 1813. Now, if you're a Transformers fan, Mount St. Hilary was the volcano that the Autobots Ark crashed into and stayed there for 4 million years until it erupted. And when it erupted, according to the cartoon, the comics I think was almost the same. It erupted, and the vibration of the eruption triggered Teletran 1, their onboard computer system, to launch a Sky Spy satellite, and it went out and started scanning nearby life forms as it thought, because it didn't know humans. And unfortunately, as in this comic we'll see, it just happened to bring the Decepticons back to life first, before the Autobots.
Okay.
So anyway, so we're still in the diner, and we get to meet Sarah Connor, who, if you remember in the movies, was played by Linda Hamilton. And in one scene in T2, her twin sister was with her in one scene in that movie. So she's having a little bit of a problem out of one of the patrons in there. She spilled coffee on him. Yeah. She
like, I ain't paying for cold coffee.
He's like, what the hell are you doing? Where'd you learn to pour coffee?
Yeah.
So yeah, he decided he's not.
He's not wrong.
No, that's true. I mean, if anybody's had hot coffee spilled on him, that's not fun at all.
She's probably just having a bad day.
Well, yeah, you know.
She's about to have a bad day.
She's about to have a really bad day. So, of course, the boss comes up behind her. He's like, what did you do this time, Sarah? So apparently maybe she's klutzy in the comic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's anything kind of... The movie, she was kind of an independent person. Like, she wouldn't stand for any bullshit from people. Yeah. You know, so... So she's going out. She's going to fight. I mean, not fight him, but she's going to stay on this trucker. She's like, you need to pay. You're not leaving and not paying your bill. And the trucker's like, he's like, not my fault. You know, he's like, it's not my fault. You scare easy. And she's like, look, I don't. Trust me, I don't really scare easy. And basically, he's like, look, lady, I don't want to hurt you. So this jerk spins around, and he's going to punch her. Naked Arnold shows up, catches his fist, and the guy pulls a gun, shoots right through the Terminator's hand. And you just see the bottom panel, Arnold's face behind him, the bullet hole, and you see just a little bit of the endoskeleton underneath the flesh.
It's like that crow scene.
On his hand. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Just like the crow scene. Except for the Terminator doesn't go, woo!
Yeah, true.
So he takes the trucker out. He says, see you in hell. Sure, okay. Terminator knows what hell is, I guess. And Sarah Connor's like, she's like, screw this, I'm leaving. I don't know who this naked guy is jumping this trucker and taking his clothes. I'm not hanging around. Then the Terminator pulls a gun on her. He says, identify yourself. He's like, what's your designation? Tells her his name. Or she tells him her name, Sarah Connor. And he says, do you know where Mount St. Hilary is? And she says, the volcano in the news? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know, it's getting ready to erupt. He's like, I've got a job I have to do. So they decide to take the trucker's tractor trailer, which looks like Optimus Prime, and that'll play a part later in the series. And he says his famous line, come with me if you want to live, which was said by Arnold in the second movie, and I believe was said by Kyle Reese in the first movie. I don't remember. I think he said it in the first movie, I believe. So he's driving the tractor trailer. Sarah's sitting next to him. They're going to Mount St. Hilary. And
so he basically kidnaps her.
Basically, yeah, because like I said, he basically acts like, do you know where this is at? You would think he's sent on a mission to kill the Cybertronians before the threat happens. You think possibly the map would have been downloaded. Skynet would have had the location.
It got lost.
It got lost. He had Windows 98.
Yeah.
So he did. Well, no, 1984 went no. Oh, anyway, whatever. It didn't work out too well. So basically, he's like, he's not talking, and she's trying to get a little bit out of him. She's like, what's going on? Why are we going to Mount St. Hilary? What's so important about that? And basically, he's like, try to prevent the end of the world. She's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk anymore. And we get to the next page, boom, Mount St. Hilary is erupting. Everybody's leaving. The police is trying to barricade the road to the volcano. The Terminator just looks at her, and she's like, okay, well, basically the road's blocked. What are we going to do now? He just looks at her, does a grin. He's like, all right. He's like, we got a secondary objective. Blows right through the roadblock. Blows out. And she's trying to stop him. She's like, are you crazy? What the hell are you doing? Jumps the rig, trailer and on. I don't see how it didn't just fall off. Plot. Yeah, but so they jump the guardrail, jump the police. And they're like right at the opening where the arc is. And here comes the Sky Spy. So basically we're picking up right where, as soon as the volcano erupted, here comes the Sky Spy. It scans the tractor trailer that they're in. The Terminator shoots down the Sky Spy satellite, not knowing what it is. Crashes right into the truck, the driver's side. He crashes his head right into the steering wheel. And then he looks at her because she's checking him. She's like, oh my God, are you okay? He looks up at her. And boom, half of his face is missing. Well, the skin is missing off of it. And you can see the endoskeleton. And she's like, what are you? And he's like, I'm here to protect the most important life Earth has Skynet. So he's not technically there to protect the humans. He's there to protect Skynet, the company that built him, basically. He's like, we must destroy the machine invaders. So they drive into the Ark, and they get in there, and they're looking around. She's flabbergasted. She didn't know. She's the first time she's ever seen anything like this. And he pulls out his guns. He's ready to go. And you turn to the last page of this issue, and the Decepticons have been reactivated. You've got Megatron, you've got Starscream, you got Soundwave, Thundercracker, Reflector. At this time, he was called Refractor.
I was going to ask, like, who in the heck is Refractor?
Hasbro had a bad habit of losing or just not renewing their trademarks or copyright, whichever one it is, to keep names for their toys.
Okay.
It happened with Hot Rod. They didn't keep it for Hot Rod, and they had to end up calling him Rodimus Major, or they just called him Rodimus Minor, and that's like, oh God. So yeah, Refractor originally was called Reflector. He was in the cartoon, he was 3 identical robots that could transform into a camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the cartoon, he popped up in the first 3-episode miniseries, More Than Meets the Eye. And he looks like he's just a regular camera, that has the roll of film inside of it. You got to get developed. I guess for plot reasons for the cartoon, he's a Polaroid. He takes a picture and the Polaroid pops out. But yeah, that's who Refractor is.
Okay.
He was originally Reflector. They lost the name. I don't know if they got the name back or not, because I know a couple years ago he was still called Refractor.
Okay.
So I'm not for sure.
So at this point, were all the Autobots and Decepticons asleep, or was it just the Decepticons?
No. This is basically going by the cartoon and stuff that the Decepticons, they had gotten in a fight in space. The Decepticons boarded the Ark to try to take the Autobots out, and when they crash landed, it took both sides out. It put them in kind of a stasis lock, kind of a sleep, a coma. But again, like in the cartoon, the Sky Spy reactivated the Decepticons first. And as we can see in this panel, Megatron has got his fusion cannon aimed at Optimus Prime's head. And he doesn't say anything, but you know his intentions. If he kills Optimus Prime now, doesn't have to worry about the war continuing. The Terminator looks at him, he's like, I will see you in hell. To be continued.
So at this point, the Terminator is just going back to destroy
all Cybertronians.
Okay.
All of them. Decepticon, Autobot, he knows no difference.
Is it to prevent what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? What's going to happen is basically the Decepticons, when they show up in 1984, Megatron kills Optimus Prime, and the Autobots are never reactivated. So the Decepticons take over Earth. The humans try to fight them back. Of course, the humans, even the military, they cannot withstand the Decepticons because of their power. So basically the last ditch effort that they do is they create the Terminators to fight the Decepticon.
That's the part of the story I was missing.
Yeah. Arnold Terminator will say within the next couple of issues, he will give you kind of a information dump about it. Because I think either Optimus asks him or Sarah Connor will ask him, like, what's going on? Why are you here?
Okay.
So that was issue 1.
All right, we're on to issue 2, and the cover's got basically the Terminator with his jacket half blown off, but he's just full skeleton.
Yeah.
It's not like any skin or anything. Army-style pose going on.
Yeah, and this was cover B for issue 2. I like that cover. I don't remember what the other covers are. Usually at the end of these issues, I think a lot of times it would show you the various covers you could get. I really like that one because he's standing on top. As you can see, he's standing on top of some Transformer heads there.
Yeah, it's a cool cover. I think I like the art style of the first cover better, though. That gritty kind of...
Yeah, I didn't look at that. Who did the cover art? It was probably... it doesn't say. It was probably Milne. Probably Alex Milne, more than likely, I would assume.
Okay. Well, he's a good artist.
He is. He's really good.
All right, so we're picking up where we left off with Megatron pointing his blaster at Optimus Prime's head. And then Terminator, he yells at Megatron.
Yeah, with a shotgun in hand.
Classic shotgun.
Classic
Terminator
shotgun.
has to have a shotgun.
He does, yeah. Basically, Terminator takes a shot at him, and he's just like, he's like, what's that going to do to me? He's like, who are you?
Like, are you stupid? Terminator scan him. He just starts blasting away. He's got his pistol at this point.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a shotgun.
Yeah, as you can see, he's scanning the weak points.
Yeah.
And it tells you each Transformer what weak point they has. Megatron's weak point is his eye.
He shoots him right in the
Right
back.
in the eye. Megatron's like, you son of a bitch.
My optic.
My optics, yeah.
So he commands Starscream and Soundwave to destroy him. Sarah Connor's over in the corner.
Yeah, she's hiding. She didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You got like a little robot man fighting big alien robots. She's like, what the hell?
It's like, I better stay over here.
I should have stayed at the diner.
And then my favorite guy, Starscream.
Starscream.
No one defeats Starscream. He comes out and he's like, Megatron's hurt.
Yeah, any other time, he's like, Megatron's hurt. I'll be the leader of the Decepticons.
Yeah.
That's basically what he always does.
Not this time. He's like, I'll protect you.
Yeah.
Soundwave shoots out. All right, the cassette one is Ravage?
Ravage, yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ravage is one of the favorite ones.
Of the two of us, I'm going to have the most struggle with the Transformers.
No, that's why I'm here, man. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. This is why you picked it.
Yeah, well, yes.
I love Starscream. He's like, why don't you just die?
Yeah, because he just keeps shooting at the Terminator and he's missing him.
Yeah. He shoots like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, he's kind of just going everywhere with it.
So Megatron sees it's not doing anything, so he's like, just cease fire.
Yeah.
And the rest of you just start reviving the others, get your stuff together.
Yeah, because all the Decepticons haven't been revived yet. You've only got a handful so far.
Yeah.
They were in the process, I think, of getting the rest of them going online when the Terminator showed up.
It's basically like the big, 3 or 4? Soundwave,
There's
Starscream.
about 4 or 5 of them, yeah. Megatron, Soundwave, Starscream. I think Thundercracker, I believe I said, was in there, plus Reflector. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ravage is, at this point is chasing Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Ravage always goes after the humans. Just about
He does,
all.
doesn't he?
Or the
Yeah.
small ones like Bumblebee, yeah.
And then Starscream's making fun of Soundwave for being a yes man.
Well,
You know, because he is. Sarah Connor's running up a ladder trying to escape from Ravage. She kicks him
Yeah.
because she's starting to be badass.
Narrowly misses him. And claws hit that dress there just a little bit.
Yeah. Tears her dress, man. That's not cool.
Coming out of your paycheck, Sarah.
I mean, it costs money.
Well, a little bit of money.
So Ravage swipes at her. She falls off the ladder. At this point, it cuts to Optimus. Soundwave and Starscream are shooting at the Terminator. Optimus is just laying there, and then all of a sudden he gets up and he just whacks Starscream in the face.
Boom.
Very not cool.
Boom. Oh, come on. Starscream had it coming, man.
Doesn't matter. Starscream wasn't expecting it. It wasn't a fair fight.
Well, what nobody noticed, and how come Starscream got it, a surprise attack, was Sarah Connor aimed the Teletran 1 at Optimus Prime to reactivate him, because I think she kind of figured out what was going on with the Decepticons and what they were doing. So she used it on Optimus to reactivate him. She's like, Decepticons. And then she looked at the other symbol, like Autobots. She's like, well, she's like, damn, so let's give it a shot and see what happens. And then she ends up eventually doing the same thing to Bumblebee. She eventually ends up reactivating him, too, to help out. Because Optimus is bad, but he can't fight like 7 Decepticons at the same time, unfortunately.
Like this. Prime, you're supposed to be dead. Is Megatron too incompetent to do even that?
Yeah, so he's already digging at Megatron already.
Hey,
yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
And Megatron's probably laying down somewhere with his eye. He's like, oh, my eye. Oh, my God, my eye.
Gonna shoot your eye out, man. Optimus is trying to be the sole fighter. He's like, if I have to do it alone, I have to do it alone.
Yeah, he's always ready to sacrifice himself. You know, whether it's the right choice or not, he's always ready to sacrifice himself to save anybody.
So Sarah's like, Autobots and Decepticons. I guess I'm going to die anyway, so we'll just try to reactivate this Volkswagen over here.
Yeah.
And of course it's Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
Optimus and Megatron are still fighting. Bumblebee awakens. Starscream's freaking out because they're all waking up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's completely going against their plan. Their plan was to reactivate Decepticons, kill Optimus Prime, rule the world. That was their plan, basically.
Makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you do.
And Prime shows up, Starscream's like, son of a bitch. He's like, this is not going to work out the way we wanted it to.
It's not cool,
And
man.
then here comes a little Bumblebee, and he's like, oh, great. Now the little... But what he's not really saying this is just me. But Starscream's basically like, oh, well, there's the little one. He's up now, too.
It's the thorn in my side, man.
Yeah.
All right, so Megatron's like, well, while this is going on, let's regroup. Bumblebee goes over to help Optimus up.
Classic scene. Yeah, he's done that a few times in the cartoon and stuff. Yeah, kind of helping him out like little kid helping up, big dad bots, So
So that's a callback, you'd say?
Yeah, there was a episode in the 80s cartoon where some of the Autobots got turned evil by the Decepticons, and there's a scene where Bumblebee has to save Optimus. Puts a device on him to nullify the evil out of him, and basically it's a similar kind of scene, yeah.
Okay.
Except I don't think Optimus gives him a hug in this one like he did in the cartoon.
Oh.
I don't think he hugs Bumblebee in this one.
That's just sad. Alright, so Megatron and them kind of escape for the moment. Optimus and Bumblebee getting their stuff together, and then Terminator calls off the side, "What's your designation?"
Well, that's the thing. Basically, he's asking what their name is or what they are.
See,
he knows they're Cybertronians.
Well, he doesn't know which ones.
But it doesn't matter. His job is to destroy all Cybertrons. I don't think, if I remember right, he doesn't know one's good and one's evil. Sarah ends up having to tell him that, because he's just like, you're Cybertronian, you basically destroyed the world, I kill you now.
Well, maybe that's why he's asking. Maybe he's got like a kill list. He's got to mark them off.
Maybe.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Terminator just starts shooting. He knocks down Optimus, and then Bumblebee grabs the Terminator by the leg. It's like, I don't know who you are, but if you hurt him, you're going to pay, because that's my boy.
Yeah, and by this time, there's no human flesh on the Terminator. It's all endoskeleton.
True, yeah.
There's no flesh on him whatsoever.
And then Sarah just starts screaming at everybody.
She's like, look, she's like, damn it, explain what is going on here.
She's going to full mom mode right here, man.
Yeah.
And everybody just looks at her.
She's basically getting ready to lose her mind. She does not know what's going to happen.
Yep. She's like, I've had a hell of a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Some asshole didn't pay for his coffee.
Right. I get stolen by a robot. I get shot at by robots. I get chased by a little robot like Panther.
Yep.
Who was a cassette tape.
Yeah. She's like, what is this?
And then they all calm down. She goes, are we all civil now?
Yeah.
And Optimus is like, a sentient biological life form. Who would have thought such a thing existed?
Yeah, that's the first time he's ever seen a human being. Because at this time, basically Transformers never left Cybertron. And if they did, this would have been the first time they would have showed up on Earth. At least according to this comic, yeah.
So he just treats her like a butterfly.
Yep.
Huh, you're so cute. Terminator, he's like, Sarah Connor, do not interfere. My mission is to destroy the Cybertronians. Mm-hmm. And she's like, screw your mission. I'm a badass woman.
She's like, these two just saved our lives.
And she's probably like one of the first. Was Alien first?
Yeah. Alien was 1979.
Okay.
Yeah, with Sigourney Weaver.
One of the first like strong women characters.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, she didn't start out that way. And well, I mean, Sigourney Weaver didn't either. Her character Ripley didn't start out that way either, but they ended up that way.
Okay.
In the second movie, in Terminator 2, Sarah,
she's full on.
She's in a mental hospital because nobody believed her that the end time, that the Judgment Day was coming. So yeah, she goes full out, strong chick in the second movie for sure.
That's true. I guess this is what it's kind of leading towards.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, hands on her hips. She's like, all right, if this is so important, explain what's going on to me.
Yep. And this is when we get our information dump of what's going on, why the Terminator's doing what he's doing.
It's like a flashback, flash forward type deal.
Yep. He gives her the information. Basically, 1984, the volcano erupted. The Decepticons killed the Autobots, so there was nobody to stand up against the Decepticons' power. The humans tried. Military failed. These a handful of scientists basically said, "Hey, let's create these robots." So they created Skynet, created Terminators as basically the last line of defense. Didn't save the human race. The human race still died out.
So he's still wanting to save them, even though he knows
he's wanting to save Skynet is what it is, because the humans didn't survive, but the Terminators kept going because as far as the movies go, they're basically self-sufficient. Skynet just pumps them out, because according to the movie, Skynet seen the humans as the threat to the planet, so that's why they were fighting the humans in the film. This one, the Cybertronians were still the threat, even though the humans weren't around anymore. Their primary situation was to destroy the Cybertronians, no matter what. So whether the humans were alive or not, it didn't really matter to them.
This actually works well as a crossover story.
It's really good. It's probably one of the better ones IDW did, for sure.
A lot of crossovers is just like hit and miss, but this one actually works really well.
A lot of them is just to get people's eyes on properties, for sure.
It's like, ooh, characters together.
Yeah.
All right, so we get to see the Terminator in human flesh form kind of being made and naked.
Oh, that's a classic scene there.
Oh, Yeah, Megatron on the throne.
Yeah, and that is a callback, if not almost exactly from the cartoon episode where he is on the Lincoln Memorial. He takes Lincoln out of the huge chair and sets in it as his throne.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's a callback to that episode of the original cartoon.
That's cool. And it has like a Terminator like bowing in front of him.
Yeah, because basically the Terminator's like, we're gonna be subservient to him, but secretly we're still gonna kill him.
It'd almost been cool if the Transformers had made the...
made the Terminators?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that
That could have been cool, too.
It would have been, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, they have the capability, to build, not necessarily their level of sentience. They could still build, robot soldiers for sure.
That would have been cool. All right, so Terminator says, I failed to destroy the Cybertronians before they awoke. Now I must terminate them all.
Yeah.
Starting with this room. And Bumblebee's just like, oh, huffing and puffing. It's like, that's a real sob story, man. But I'm not letting you destroy anyone because he's going to protect everybody.
Yep. Bumblebee's got good intentions, bless his heart. Little old feller. He got intentions.
And, of course, Optimus gives his big speech because he always has to give a speech.
Of course.
Like,
all good leaders have to give that.
We'll stand up for everyone.
Yeah. All good leaders got to give that invigorating speech to get you motivated and going.
And then Sarah Connor's like, you have to admit, Optimus is pretty inspirational.
See? Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's basically saying that they need to work together.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, but to stop the Decepticon threat, they're going to have to work together because right now the only Autobots that's active is Optimus and Bumblebee.
Right.
That's it. That's the only ones that are active right now.
So Terminator's looking, it's like, all right, proposition accepted for now.
For now, yeah. Yep. He's like, the Decepticons are a bigger threat than you two are right now, so we'll work together.
Okay, so Optimus is like, we need to get the rest of my crew together. Do you care to help us, Sarah? He's like, what's Sarah going to do? And I guess she woke up Bumblebee.
I was going to say, she did bring Bumblebee back to life, so...
My bad.
Humans have always been, whether you like them or not, humans have always been a part of the Transformers lore, so... They've always been involved either for good or for bad, so...
True. I mean, we haven't got Megan Fox in here yet.
Oh.
All right, she goes, well, it depends. You think you can give me a ride? And then Optimus transforms.
Yep.
She's like, you know what? I think I'll pass.
I think I'll just walk.
It's just kind of weird that I'd be inside you.
We'll leave that to Mirage from Rise of the Beast. You're inside of me.
So we're transported to the western coast of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Megatron's sitting on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling Starscream to report. Starscream's, would you believe, Megatron, that the insect that blew your optic seems to be masquerading as this planet's dominant life form?
Because they finally discovered humans.
Yeah. What does he call them? Fleshy organics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, look, they have machines just like us. And a doom buggy drives by and he just shoots at it and blows it up.
When I went back and reread these for this episode, I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, is that not, that? Please don't be Beachcomber. It's like, no, it's just a regular doom buggy. I was like, okay, because there's a Transformer.
Oh, so it's okay if he murders just a regular person.
I mean, but no.
Don't let it be a Transformer.
There is a Transformer called Beachcomber, and he transforms into a blue doom buggy. Okay. So when I first seen it, I was like, oh shit, is that the Beachcomber? I was like, no, it's not Beachcomber. Okay. So, I mean, it's got some humans in it, but it's not Beachcomber. So.
I mean, 3 dudes.
It's got 3 dudes. It's okay.
Yeah, they're fine. Megatron's like, excellent work, Starscream. I'll make a warrior of you yet.
I think Megatron's eye's been repaired by now, too, it looks like.
It does, yeah.
I think one of the Insecticons, I believe, might have repaired it for him.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah. Bombshell. Oh, Bombshell's a cool character. I like Bombshell.
And they're all sucking up to Megatron.
Well, of course. He's the most powerful of the Decepticons at the moment. Whether they like him or not, they're afraid of him.
At the moment, I mean.
At the moment, yeah, they're afraid of him. So.
They fix his eye and he goes, that's excellent news. And these organics cannot stop the onslaught regardless. But without their champions, they'll make even better work of them. Mm-hmm. So now they're going after this facility, which is the robotics lab.
Yeah. Basically, it's kind of the beginning of what Skynet would become. As you can see, the end of the panel there.
Yeah, so we get the last page of the second issue, and they're attacking what seems to be private property of Cyberdyne Systems. Yeah. I'm guessing that's what's going to turn into...
Ended up being Skynet, yeah. Cyberdyne was the company that ended up making the Skynet program. But issue 3, we have here the cover on this one's cover B, and it's the endoskeleton Terminator looking at you, and if you're looking at the cover, on his left pectoral is Optimus Prime's head, and on the right side is Megatron's head. Kind of the classic thing like they did for the 2007 live-action movie posters, where you had Optimus on one side and Megatron on the other side facing each other.
Okay.
So that's always a cool scene right there with that one.
It's a cool cover.
It is. It's a really good cover. Like I said, they did some great covers for this.
We'll post all the covers on our socials.
For sure, definitely. So, okay, we open it up, and by now, we've got more Autobots that have been activated since our last issue. We have RC, and I don't like RC's vehicle mode in this.
I was going to ask, she's not a bike.
No. Well, originally she wasn't. And in the 1986 animated film, she was a futuristic car. She never got a toy at that time because boys won't play with girl characters. So
That's
they
sexist.
Well, I guess you probably was back then, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So they didn't make a toy for her until Michael Bay's movies might have been the first one. I'm not 100% on that one. But yeah, she was the motorcycle there.
Okay.
And she was a motorcycle in this last movie, Rise of the Beast, as well, which is kind of her go-to form a lot. I know eventually in some of the toy lines like Titan's Return and stuff like that, they did finally give her a toy that was more like her 86 model, the vehicle, the futuristic car.
Yeah.
And I know in the new cartoon that's on right now on Earthspark, she's kind of like a 40s or 50s roadster kind of car. So it's kind of cool how they did it. But this vehicle form I don't like. It's again, this is 1984, but I'm not a fan. It's like the kind of the box style Mustang. I'm not a fan of that. I just don't like it. But anyway, that's
Seems odd for her.
yeah.
You think she'd be like a Maserati or a...
Yeah, it's okay, but it's not my favorite of hers. But so you see her, she's carrying Jazz. And you see in the background, there's a couple other Autobots back there, basically in repair bay. She's taking Jazz back there so he can be reactivated. The Terminator's just standing there. Mm-hmm. He just looking. He's like, "What's going on?" Sarah Connor hollers at him. She's like, "Hey, can you give me a hand?" And she's like, "What's your designation anyway?" So she finally asked him what's his designation, and you can see in his line of sight, it says Sarah Connor, threat level rising, unidentified Cybertronian inactive. So he's still doing his scanning. He's still, he's just biding his time and everything.
I will say, whoever's writing her stuff, Sarah Connor stuff, is great. That's probably my favorite part of it.
A majority of the writing in here is done by John Barber, and he's, like I said, he was a great writer. I mean, still is a great writer, but for Transformers and IDW's years, he was one of the top writers. Barber was. So yeah, we go over the next page, and Bumblebee's over there. He's trying to help get some of the Autobots picked up off the floor and moved. He's struggling a little bit, and she's like, "Hello, Earth, whatever your name is," and he's like, "Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, Series 800, Terminator Unit." And she's like, "Oh, really? Rolls off the tongue, huh?"
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, then Terminator." And then she's like, he's like, Sarah Connor's objective to terminate the Cybertronian threat, not to help the weak. Cybertronians rebuild their kind, and Bumblebee's like, "Man, I'm right here. I hear everything you're saying." Terminator looks up at him. You see RC standing there next to Bumblebee. And she's like, "Here, let me help you, Bumblebee." He looks at RC, threat level, maximum. They did, in the regular run of the Transformer comics, they made RC a badass. We were talking about female badasses. They made RC a badass in the IDW comic books.
That's cool.
I mean, she didn't care to blow your head off without even thinking about it in the comics. So yeah, they made her a badass for sure. And then we look over to the next panel, and we've got a lot of Autobots now that are activated. We've got Ratchet. We've got Wheeljack. Of course, Optimus is there. Bumblebee's there. They're getting ready to activate Grimlock. Love Grimlock. Dinobots are some of my favorite Transformers. Love the Dinobots.
They're pretty cool.
Love them. Love Wheeljack. In the cartoon, his inventions never worked. They never worked. Every time he would try, they might work one time, and then that would be it for him. After that, nothing.
Mm.
So they're basically talking about what's happening with the Decepticons. Ratchet's telling him, he's like, "Look, Prime, things aren't good." He's like, "We've got every Autobot function that we can. We need energon. We're low on energy. We don't have enough energy."
Okay,
and
so is that basically like food, or is it fuel?
It's
okay.
fuel. Basically, it's fuel, yeah. And they can basically take any source of energy that we have here on Earth, whether it's electricity, whether it's solar power, hydroelectric power, and they can convert it into energon, their fuel. Yeah, that's what they live on. Yeah. And he's telling Prime, he's like, everybody else needs extensive repairs and more energon to get them back on their feet. And Optimus is like, unfortunate, but I understand. He's like, Wheeljack, basically he's asking what systems on the Ark do we have operational? He's like, most things are functional. He says, except for the Teletran probe. He's like, it's mysteriously offline. Well, they don't know the Terminator blew it to hell in the first issue. That's when he blew it up. So we have a roll call. Optimus is getting the Autobots lined up. He's like, basically Wheeljack's like, he's like, they basically, Decepticons, they ransacked the Ark. They didn't really leave us much good stuff to use. And Optimus is like, no, he's like, you're wrong. He's like, he left some of the greatest engineers and the finest medics that we have. So you have Ratchet, you have Wheeljack, you have RC, you have Bumblebee, and you have another Autobot. I don't remember if she was exclusive to the comics or not, but Velocity.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot about Velocity. Again, this was 4 years ago, so I don't remember. She's really cool. I love her vehicle mode. It's kind of a Smoking the Bandit Trans Am kind of car.
That's cool.
Blue with yellow flames. So I love her vehicle mode. She's basically asking Optimus, where are we going to go? And he's like, we're going to find the Decepticons, ensure that they don't destroy the Earth because it's a beautiful planet. Optimus, he admires the planet. He sees the beauty in it and, the humans. Again, his old saying is, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. So he doesn't want to see the Decepticons destroy this beautiful planet. So basically, they're all getting together. The Terminator's coming with them to go find the Decepticons. Sarah Connor asks Bumblebee, she's like, hey, what's your job? Are you a warrior? Whatever. He's like, I'm basically a scout. I'm not really a warrior. I'm a scout. He asked her what her job was. She's like, a waiter. He's like, a waiter? It's like, a waitress, sorry. A waitress. And he's like, what's a waitress? What's that job? He's like, time was, I did search. Basically, like he said, he's a scout. He did search and rescue, try to find out information, stuff like that. But he said, I can still hold my own when it comes to a fight. She's like, well, that sounds like a warrior to me. and RC's just like, hush, be quiet, because Optimus is trying to talk, They divide up in their groups. It's Bumblebee and, Bumblebee, Sarah Connor, RC the Terminator, and Optimus and Velocity. They all go off in their little groups to go find the Decepticons. We pop over to the next page. We're back at the Cyberdyne Systems plant, manufacturing plant, Sunnyvale, California. Megatron Decepticons, they started blowing it up. It's smoking. It's on fire. Megatron's like, excellent work, Starscream. He's like, excellent work. He's like, Starscream was correct for once. These creatures are pitiful. All the more reason to bring them to, bring a new order to this planet. Thundercracker shows up. He's like, he's got reports from the Decepticons. He basically gives them a rundown of what each Decepticon's doing. Starscream's interrogating the humans, kind of getting some information about the planet, what energy sources there are. And the humans like, we're a small company, we're a small tech company. We don't work for a hunter, because he's talking about the Terminator, And Starscream's like, no. Well, an unfortunate misunderstanding. And then he aims his null ray to humans, and you assume he killed them. You don't see it, but you assume he killed them. Then Thundercracker continues, talks about Soundwave, and it shows a Soundwave and Reflector. Another classic scene from the cartoon series. They're taking energon cubes that Soundwave's creating out of his chest, hooking it up to turbines, it looks like, and filling the energon cubes up with energon. He tells Megatron, Skywarp's on the lookout. Hasn't seen any sign of the Autobots right now. Skywarp was always probably my favorite of the three Seekers. I know you're a big Starscream fan.
Starscream's the best.
Skywarp was really cool because Skywarp had a special ability. He could teleport.
Yeah.
So I like Skywarp.
He's still a cool character.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I love the color scheme. Black and purple. I love the color scheme, yeah. And then we see a panel here. He's talking about the Insecticons. And he's like, then there's the Insecticons. And you just see shrapnel, bombshell, and kickback. And they're eating. That's what they do. They eat almost anything. They can eat organic matter, inorganic matter. And they do drink or consume energon as well, but they can eat other things. Like in one episode of the cartoon, they're eating in a wheat field, where they can just eat, metal or wood or whatever and get energy that way. But it's low quality, so they basically still have to have energon. Basically, Megatron tells Thundercracker, look, he's like, I want the Terminator found. He didn't call it the Terminator, but he's like, I want its kind found, or you will be exterminated. And poor Thundercracker's like, oh man. He's like, I'm doing my best. And then we're on the western coast of Oregon on the next page, and we see Optimus Prime kind of just majestically standing at the edge of a cliff, in
Hero
silhouette. In hero pose, and Velocity's behind him. And she's like, I think we got something, Optimus. The Decepticons definitely were here. And she's like, I appear to have found an optic casing standard Cybertronian model RTF-2, which is from Megatron. That's where he was being repaired at before. So that's his old optic. And basically, Optimus is like, we must find Megatron, prevent more loss. He's overlooking some destruction. It's the dune buggy that Starscream blew up in the last issue. He sees it smoldering. And Optimus, that's why he says, we have to prevent more loss, because I guess he doesn't show it, but I guess he sees the dead bodies of the humans that were there. And then we cut to, looks like, it's Bumblebee and Sarah Connor. She's changed her clothes now. She's not in her waitress outfit now. She's in her just jeans and the long sleeve shirt now. She's with Bumblebee. And she's listening to the radio, trying to get some information about the Decepticons. And you hear the little radio play. It says, could have sworn it was Judgment Day. And it says, interrupt our regular broadcast with an important news update.
I like that callback.
Yeah, Judgment Day, yeah. Like, we're getting reports of a terrorist attack at Cyberdyne Systems in Sunnyvale. Residents are advised to stay clear of the area. And she's like, you don't think? And Bumblebee's like, well, better time to prove me right. So they head off to go to Cyberdyne Systems.
Is that where she goes, well, I can't go back to work now?
Yeah, I believe it is. Let's see. Man, my life's been completely disrupted. I can't go back to my job, not with what I know now.
I'm like, really? You can't just go?
Yeah, and Bumblebee's basically like, well, you can join us. Join us in our fight against the Decepticons. And
Don't worry about making money. Just come fight a bunch of robots.
Yeah, and she's like, I also don't want my life defined by escaping death at the hands of evil robots. No offense. And Bumblebee's like, none taken.
Yeah.
He's like, I understand. He's like, just remember, you proved yourself as a warrior. I think the evil robot should worry about you. Little foreshadowing, because like I said in the movies, she's a badass in the movies.
True.
And this is from later on. So then we cut to the Terminator and RC, and they're in the armory. RC's talking to the Terminator. Like I said, RC's really smart. She's a great warrior in these comics at the time. And she's sitting there talking to the Terminator. She's like, I picked up on the fact that most of the Autobots aren't soldiers. They're doctors, engineers, bots who just want to do the right thing. But that doesn't mean that we aren't well armed for when we need to be. Because basically the Terminator, he's just looking around. He's like, damn, look at all these weapons in here. And she's like, here's a Cybertronian weapon that you can, help us fight. Because basically his little shotgun stuff, it wasn't going to do anything.
It's a little pea shooter.
Didn't really do anything, So he gets him an Autobot weapon, a Cybertronian weapon, so he can help him fight. She's asking Wheeljack how it's going. Actually, and then Wheeljack's like, the better shape than I thought. Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck. Which is a phrase Optimus Prime uses in the 1986 movie. When the Decepticons are spying on him. RC transforms. God, I hate that car mode. But RC transforms. The Terminator, he jumps in the driver's seat. They drive off for a little while, and they get to where the Sky Spy was shot down at. And she's like, you know anything about this? And he's like, it scanned me. And he's not even looking at her. He's looking away from her. He's holding a gun, and she asked him, and he's like, it scanned me. Basically, that's why I had to shoot it down. It invaded my privacy. It broke my bubbles.
Hey, boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries, yeah. And so we get a call then RC gets a call from Bumblebee. Calling all Autobots. Sarah and I think we've got a lead on the Decepticons. He's like, backup would be appreciated. Because like I said, he's a great warrior. Well, some people might disagree with me. He's a pretty good warrior, but he's a little feller. He's not going to be able to fight off a lot of Decepticons.
He's got small man syndrome. That's what it is.
He definitely has, I think, the mentality that Optimus Prime has to a point. He would sacrifice himself to protect somebody. Whether it's...
We're going to get into that.
Yeah. So, he's like, I can see the Decepticons, but what are they doing? And basically, Sarah asks that, and Bumblebee's basically like, he's like, well, they've secured some energon cubes, caused some mayhem, captured some humans. He's like, I think they're getting ready to leave. He's like, we can't wait for the Autobots. We've got to go. He's like, it's probably best if you stay here, though. It's not going to be safe for you to go join us. Boom, Skywarp teleports. He's like, heads up, look like we have an Autobot spying on us. And I love the graphics. It's almost like little stars twinkling in the air and stuff when he manifests himself. Bumblebee didn't pay attention at first. He's walking away. He's like, okay, I'm going. Skywarp looks at him, aims his null rays at him, and says, surprise. And Bumblebee grabs Sarah, transforms, drives down the hill. Skywarp transforms, chases after him. And Bumblebee's like, did he yell surprise? Does he not get how that ruins the word? How does that ruin it?
I thought the same thing. I'm like, why would you yell that if you're getting ready to do it?
Exactly. So Bumblebee crashes through the the chain link fence at the Cyberdyne Systems. Sarah's like, you're driving right at the Decepticons. And it shows pictures of Megatron, Soundwave, and one of the reflectors standing there. And Bumblebee's like, that's the idea. He's like, trust me. He's like, I've done this before. So you see him, he's in vehicle mode, and you see the transformation into robot mode. And he's like, see you later, Warper. Say hey to Megatron. And basically, Skywarp sees it. He teleports to try to miss Megatron. But in the process, he ends up getting shot. And turn the next page, who shoots him? The Terminator. You think it's Optimus, but you look and the Terminator's gun is smoking. So the Terminator got Skywarp. Skywarp thought he was going to be smart. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to crash into Megatron. I know it's what you want, but I'm not going to do that. So Megatron and the Decepticons, they see Optimus Prime, and Megatron's basically like, he's like, you still dare to defy me? He's like, prepare to die. Decepticons attack. And this is cool because he takes, and if you remember the cartoon and some of the later toys, the Megatron in one episode had an energy mace, and it was colored purple, and Optimus had his energy axe that they fought together like one episode. And it's almost a basic thing now with almost every Optimus Prime toys for him to come with an Energon axe. Megatron's come with a mace a couple of times, but not as often as Optimus has. So they start attacking each other. Soundwave blasts Bumblebee away with a big like sonic blast, knocks him down. RC jumps on Thundercracker. She kind of takes a ride on Thundercracker in the sky. Bumblebee's like, whoa. He's like, that was a head rush. Basically tells Sarah to get out of the way. He didn't want her to get hurt. He's like, try getting through to Ratchet and Wheeljack. Even if no one else is back online, we need their help. So then we get a big fight between Optimus and Megatron. And Optimus is like, I see why you didn't want to fight me earlier, Megatron. You're old. Yesterday's model. Ready for the scrap heap. Again, another phrase that was said in the cartoon. I believe in Revenge of the Fallen, in the scene in the woods right before Optimus dies, he's fighting Megatron and Starscream. And I think he says similar phrase, I believe he says. So they're fighting. Of course, Optimus is getting the upper hand on Megatron. Always gets the upper hand on Megatron until somebody interferes or Megatron does some kind of sneaky shit. Optimus usually always going to come out on top in that fight. The Terminator's got his focus on Reflector and sees his invulnerability, and it's his face. So Reflector looks at him and is like, bring it, Pipsqueak. And looks like the Terminator throws a rock at him or something. I'm not for sure. It's hard to see in the picture right here what he threw at him. The Terminator kind of just looks. And then it cuts to the Ark. We got Wheeljack and Ratchet. And he's like, we got trouble. He's like, I think they need our help. And in the background, you see Sideswipe. You see Grimlock. And Windblade. Now, Windblade was a character, real quick, that was like a fan-created character. And she's blowed up in the fandom. She got her own series for a while in IDW Comics. So she's a really cool character, too. She kind of looks like a character that was from one episode of the original cartoon series. Kind of got the Asian-style headdress and stuff on her and everything. Definitely samurai-inspired. So she's a really cool character. So Ratchet and them, you see them standing there. How long do you think they can hold out? And he's like, we can get a little juice to them, bring some reinforcements. And then they look at then you see both of them looking around. They're like, what was that? They hear a noise. And somebody has set an explosive on the Ark. And it goes up in flames. It's a huge explosion. The whole Ark explodes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the mountain that was just erupting or...
No, yeah, it shows at the bottom of the previous page like a little time mine right there. Yeah. That somebody had planted on the Ark and they didn't know nothing about it.
It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. And you think, looking at it, I don't know what they attached it to, but whatever it was, it basically destroyed the entire Ark. It blew the entire Ark up. and causing Mount St. Hilaire to erupt again. We get back to the fight between the Autobots and the Decepticons, and Reflector's head explodes. So apparently the Terminator must have threw a bomb at his head. So he blows his brain. So he's dead. He's gone. It says terminated. Velocity's fighting another Decepticon, blows his head off. So she's taking them out. They're working together. Terminator gives Velocity a thumbs up. And as he's giving a thumbs up, Starscream comes up behind him, shoots a little warning blast beside of him. And the last page of this issue is Starscream is aiming his null ray at the Terminator. He's like, "Don't make another move, insect." He's like, "I figured out your secret. If I destroy the flesh bags, you cease to exist. So let's cut a deal." To be continued.
And that's probably my favorite panel in the whole run.
Oh, well, Starscream looking at the Terminator? Yeah. It's probably your best look at Starscream, except for the very first issue. So, yeah, definitely. Again, Alex Milne was a great artist. Still is a great artist, but when it came to Transformers, he just drew such a great line work, and all that stuff was just good.
Well, that's good. All right, so we're going to the final issue 4. It is a cool cover.
It is. Like I said, I guess, I said earlier that they probably didn't get the likeness rights, but they must have, or they just was able to skirt by it, because they're close enough that if you know the movies, you know who that is when you're looking at the picture. But they might have been able to get by without having any trouble from Arnold or Linda Hamilton, maybe.
All right, we're back with Starscream.
Starscream.
No one defeats Starscream. And he says, "I'll spare the fleshlings if you help me get rid of Megatron," because that's really his only goal.
It always is. It's always get rid of Megatron, take over the Decepticons. Yeah,
I mean, it's not too much to ask for. Megatron's been in charge for too long.
Any Decepticon basically would want to do the same thing. They just don't have the cojones to do it. Starscream doesn't really, but he knows how to.
He's an opportunist.
Yeah, he is very opportunist. He knows how to con his way into getting help to take out Megatron.
Which, I mean, it's like the Sith. You should only have one dude, and you shouldn't be there so long.
And he's basically cutting a deal with the Terminator.
Yeah.
He's like, "You help me get rid of Megatron, I won't kill you." And we all know it's bullshit. Starscream will turn on you like on a dime.
Well, the Terminator doesn't know that.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
Like, look, this way we both get what we want, I'm leader, you get to live, and then your people can kind of serve me too.
Yeah.
We're not going to mention that part yet.
You still get to kill some Cybertronians, but...
And Terminator's like, "You know what? I'm cool with this. This offer is acceptable," is what he says, "to ensure the future of Skynet."
Yeah.
And Starscream's like, "Excellent."
Yeah. Little grin.
So he gives them the plan on how they're going to do it. Next, you cut to Ravage.
Yeah, Ravage and Sarah Connor, round 2.
Yes. Yeah. And now she's got her full-on 80s hair going.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It's so messy. She's calling for Wheeljack, Ratchet. She's calling for help anybody she can.
Yeah, they have no idea the Ark has been destroyed.
Nobody's responding.
Nobody's responding.
And cut to... All right, these are the Constructicons, correct?
The Insecticons.
That's the Insecticons?
Yeah, these are the Insecticons. Yeah, you've got Kickback, Bombshell, and Shrapnel, yeah.
So they're basically all fighting with the Autobots.
Mm-hmm. And what's cool about the Insecticons, in some versions, they'll actually eat other Transformers. These versions, they won't.
Okay.
But in some versions of the lore, they've shown and been known to eat other Transformers for sustenance. So, yeah.
So, yeah, the Autobots are like, "We got this, right?" And Bumblebee's like, "Yes." And then he said, "If we didn't have Soundwave coming up on the rear, too," and then he goes, "Oh, well, then we're doomed, huh?" Yeah. That was a good line.
Soundwave is... Until this new comic book that Skybound has done, Soundwave has always been... important character. He's one of the top 3 characters for the Decepticons, but he was never seen as a huge threat. Every once in a while you would see somebody kind of ride him as a threat.
He'd make a good, assassin.
Definitely, for sure.
Transformer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They should do that.
Especially with his cassettes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Then you see Starscream in jet mode with the Terminator riding in him.
Yep.
That's so badass.
Yeah, anytime you see any transformation scenes in the comic books are just really great.
Soundwave gets shot, and Starscream's like, "Good. We didn't need him anyway." And you got... Is it Megatron?
It's Megatron, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Megatron and Optimus, and he's like...
They're still fighting.
Yeah, they're going to be fighting forever.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah. And Megatron says, "Your destruction is at hand. Optimus is like, what? As Starscream is swishing by him.
Yep.
Starscream's like, bombs away! Enjoy this, Megatron.
Ejects the Terminator, yeah.
The Terminator just going feet first, diving out. And he's saying, prepare for termination, Cybertronian.
Oh, yeah, dude, like, he just crashes right into Megatron's chest.
Yeah, and Megatron just picks him up. It's like, enough.
Yeah. just like an insect. He's like, you just bother me.
Just swats him off.
Swatting away a mosquito, basically.
Starscream's like, what? No.
He's like, damn it, my plan didn't work.
Yeah. And Optimus just gut punches Megatron.
Yeah, takes that Energon axe right to his chest, for sure.
Like, your antics have never amused me, Megatron.
See, a lot of people don't like Violent Prime, or Murder Prime, as a lot of people's called him in the Michael Bay movies. So, yeah, I like, but Optimus, he's always been that guy that I've always felt like takes it to that level when it needs to be. Because Megatron's the Decepticons, they're going to kill you no matter what. There's very few Decepticons ever that I can remember that's ever had any kind of mercy toward anything. Megatron for sure won't.
This is almost kind of dark here. He goes, you're finished, Megatron. And Megatron's kind of like bent over.
Oh, yeah, he's getting ready he's going to kill him. Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's about to chop his head off.
Yep, he's
like
getting ready to decapitate him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is pretty dark for Optimus Prime. Megatron's like, nah. He just uppercuts him.
Yep.
He's like, I don't fear you. I don't fear your Autobots. I don't fear the meat bags or the children's toys or Starscream.
No, Megatron has no... Well, yeah, it has no fear, basically, well, until you meet Unicron, but yeah.
Wow. And he goes, I fear nothing, for I am fear itself.
Yep. And this is really cool, too, real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
But that panel right there when Optimus is coming...
axe.
Yeah, the Energon axe. But right here at that bottom panel where Optimus is getting ready to look like he's getting ready to decapitate Megatron, it's kind of a flip-flop from the 86 animated movie where Optimus is kind of down on his hands and knees and Megatron is getting ready to blow his head off with a gun. So they kind of flipped it for this comic in a way. And everybody that knows Transformers, the movie, knows what happens next. But I like that. It's kind of a callback to that scene. They just flipped it on its head and put Optimus at the advantage over Megatron.
We cut back to Ravage and Sarah Connor. She's like, you know what? I'm done with this. She busts out the door. She's got a gun in her hand. She goes, all right, round 2.
Look at that high kick.
I mean, it is pretty high.
Look at that kick.
Yeah. She's got some calves, that's for sure. She goes, prepare for termination. And as soon as she does it, Ravage takes her down, pins her down. Like, this ain't what I thought. And she goes, I guess you land on your feet, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Time for this is dark too. It's time for a permanent catnap. She puts a gun in his mouth with his mouth open, blows it through his head.
That surprised me, honestly, when I first read that, because it looks like it's a human gun.
Yeah, it's a pistol.
And normally human weapons, especially the handguns like that, I wouldn't think would do that kind of damage. They're usually not shown doing that kind of damage to Transformers, but
could be his weak spot.
It could be. Yeah, Ravage is smaller, so yeah, for sure.
And this is the first time I've ever seen it, because I've not read any of the Transformer comics before, but Ravage is bleeding.
Basically it would be Energon coming out of him, pretty much.
Okay, so if they run out of Energon, are they just dead?
Yeah, basically. Well, it depends. A lot of stuff's changed, especially like with Beast Wars and stuff like that. They can be put into, like I said, like a stasis lock, which is kind of a coma, basically. But if he's not put in any kind of stasis lock or anything, he'll die for sure. And some injuries are irreversible, because at this time you don't have the whole Beast Wars CR chamber stuff where they can repair them and all that stuff like that. So yeah, if they run out of Energon or too severely damaged, they'll die for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's laying there. Even she can't believe it worked.
Yeah, like I said, it surprised me. But
it's
like you said, it's the inside roof of his mouth. So it would be a weak spot for sure.
Probably right between what would be an animal's brain.
Yeah, so it'd be a weak spot.
Okay, so we're going to cut to RC fighting with the Seekers.
Mm-hmm.
You got Thundercracker and Skywarp. You got the Insecticons circling around Bumblebee and Velocity.
Yeah.
They end up shooting each other because Bumblebee and Velocity jump.
Get out of the way. Yeah.
Velocity's like, ha, that's nice. Heck yeah. Go team.
Velocity uses some of those Michael Bay flips and jumps there.
Yeah. All right, so Sarah Connor is picking up the Transformer, I guess out of Starscream's belly? Or his cockpit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of his cockpit.
Yeah, the cockpit, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I need help. He's trapped.
Yeah.
And Terminator's like, I will finish my mission.
Yeah.
And Starscream's like, I think not, Bug. Starscream's awesome. He's like, I was planning on taking you out because, this is what Starscream does. He turns on you.
It's when he gets the use out of you that he needs, you are nothing to him.
So he's ready to finish off Terminator. He's pointing his gun at him. Says goodbye. And Starscream gets shot.
Yeah.
It just shows a purple blast, and then, well, on the next panel you find out who shot Starscream. Of course it's Soundwave, because Soundwave is Megatron's #1 guy.
Soundwave's like, yeah, bitch, I ain't dead.
Soundwave is analyzing Sarah Connor. He's like, objective termination.
Yep.
She goes, go terminate yourself.
Yeah.
And Terminator laughs. He laughs a lot in this comic.
Yep, and then they take Soundwave out.
Yeah.
Because he's already injured. You can see he's got a big gaping hole. He's dripping energon. He's barely standing.
This comic's bloody.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit more violent than I remember it being, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Soundwave goes down. Bumblebee all's cuddling the Terminator and Sarah Connor. Like, oh, I got you guys. Don't worry about it. I'm a scout.
Yeah, I'm a scout. I got you.
Terminator is my objective is still incomplete, Cybertronian. Still function. Terminator is basically saying my objective's not over until I've completed my mission. And Bumblebee's like, if you help me complete mine, I'll help you. Whatever you need.
Yeah.
We're going to get a fastball special.
Fastball
here.
special, yeah. The Terminator has no legs either, I don't think, does he? Starscream, he basically got crushed. He lost his legs.
He's got no legs.
Yeah.
He's like Lieutenant Dan.
He's like Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
Which is another callback to the original 84 movie. The Terminator loses... Does it lose his leg? It's injured, and it basically has to crawl after Sarah Connor. Okay. So it's similar, yeah.
All right, so Terminator's basically like, throw me.
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, what? And he launches him. You get back to Velocity and RC. He goes, you know that this is bad for you, right? It's like, next time I won't be able to fix you. Okay, so Optimus and Megatron are still fighting.
Yeah, they're still going at it.
You fight like a real warrior. Any last words? And Terminator's like, freedom.
Yeah.
She chucks Terminator.
Dude, she chucks him, man.
Yeah. And she chucks him right through the heart of Megatron.
Yep.
Megatron's like, no! And you see him start exploding.
Yeah, the Terminator looks like he holds a gun up. It looks like he's probably blasted his spark, which is basically the Transformer's heart, pretty much, yeah. It looks like... No, not the Allspark.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's what I'm assuming, but he's blasting him from the inside out. And yeah, Megatron just explodes. His whole chest just boom, just goes out.
He's sad. He's like, dude, this is supposed to be your death, Optimus.
Yeah. I'm not supposed to die. You are.
And Optimus is all polite. He's like, goodbye, Megatron.
Yeah.
And goodbye, my friend.
Yeah, Optimus, in some versions, Optimus would call Megatron a brother, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say Optimus has a death wish. I didn't get to talk about it earlier when they were fighting, but yeah, he has a death wish. Because anytime him and Megatron are alone, he's like, one shall
stand, one shall fall. Yeah. Well, like I said, Optimus, he's ready to sacrifice himself.
He's ready to die.
I don't know if he called it a death wish, but yeah, I mean, he's ready to sacrifice. If that's what it takes to win the day and save a planet, he'll do it.
All right, so Optimus is looking around at all the carnage. Pretty much all the Decepticons are like beat down, if not dead.
Yeah.
And Bumblebee's like, you sure you don't want to join us? I think you're as much an Autobot warrior as anybody else, saying to Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
He's really trying to pick her up, man.
He's like, come on, girl. Come on.
She goes, I should probably stay here, B, help these folks process what they just been through. But I promise I'll keep an eye on you, okay? And RC's like, I think that's your QB. It's like, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here, yeah. So I guess some of the humans might have actually survived, didn't they?
Yeah.
I thought Starscream might have killed them, but I think some of them actually survived, I believe.
Well, at least the first responders are there.
Okay.
And it looks like they got a few gurneys with people.
Okay.
We don't know how many, but...
True. See, if she would have took his offer, he would have never met Spike. And, Transformer history would have been changed forever.
That's true. And for some reason, Terminator's like, goodbye, and he just goes in a hole.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah. He's shutting down. He's dying.
It's like, goodbye, Sarah Connor. Yeah. All right, we're back at Mount St. Hilary in Oregon, and it looks like you get this cool silhouette of all the Transformers at the top.
Yeah. All of them. Autobot and Decepticon.
Yep.
It's basically, I think Optimus is basically saying to him, is like, look, we can continue this war, or we can work together.
Well, you got Bumblebee's here saying no, and they're asking about Wheeljack and Ratchet.
Oh, they're just now witnessing the explosion of the Ark.
Okay.
And want to know what happened. And I think they come to the conclusion that the Terminator was the one who did it. He set the bomb.
And I was like, well, it happened, so let's move on. That's basically, he goes, much as it pains me, it's best to let the past lie.
Yeah, well,
We shall mourn them, our friends, our comrades in arms, our fellow Cybertronians, and we shall not forget them. But we need just to move on.
Poor Wheeljack.
Yeah.
And then until all are one.
Is that from the cartoon?
Yeah, yes. Well, it's from the animated movie, 1986 animated film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the Autobots are chanting, till all are one,
Yep.
till all are one. And Optimus like, no use wondering if I ever got through to the Terminator. His mission was accomplished. And from that, he is free. I can only hope that is enough.
Yeah.
Until he shows up next chapter. We're back in L.A. You got Sarah Connor. She's walking into this big facility. Turns out to be Skywatch.
Skywatch, yeah. That way she can keep a watch on the Transformers and see what's going on.
So how'd she go from waitress to being like a top executive at Skywatch?
Don't know. We don't see that in the comic book. It just kind of just happens.
She got a one shot.
Yeah, it kind of just happens.
She's like, don't worry, B. I found a way to keep an eye out for you. That way you're not creeping on me.
Yeah. To help do that and keep on, if there's any Decepticons out there they didn't get a hold of, kind of help watch the world and everything.
And then the final page, you see Skynet Alpha Base in what I'm assuming is the future. And then it says Skynet status online, and it shows Megatron.
Megatron's body. Yep.
So what do you think that means?
They're going to either possibly reverse engineer him to create the Terminators, or they might try to bring him back somehow, maybe use his consciousness or something, because it shows him on a computer screen, him and then the Terminator on another one. So somehow they're going to incorporate him, either his consciousness or reverse engineer his technology to build them. One or the other. I'm not for sure which one it would be.
Because that's going to end well.
Yeah, it definitely would end well for sure.
And you get the words the end with a question mark.
Yep. I don't believe they ever did anything else with this. I believe this was a one-shot 4-issue series, I believe.
But yeah, overall, I say I would recommend this book, even if you're not a Transformer fan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or a Terminator fan, because it's actually a pretty good story. It helps if you know them.
Yeah, I mean, for your basic knowledge of the Transformers, especially characters like it, because you basically get your main characters. You don't get any obscure characters too much except for Windblade. But by 2020, if you were reading IDW comics, you didn't know who Windblade was. You would have more than likely would have known who Velocity was, because IDW had been doing Transformer comics since at least 2008. So,
would you compare Optimus and Megatron to Xavier and Magneto?
yeah, I think in a way they are. Optimus would be the Xavier type character, and then Magneto would be kind of the Megatron type character. Optimus, he just wants peace, and unfortunately, war has to happen sometimes for peace to happen. And Megatron's his whole thing is peace through tyranny. So he's going to accomplish his version of peace through war, through fear, through heavy-handed. Because like most villains, they don't see themselves as villains. They see themselves as the one on the right side of history, and what they do will benefit the world or the species.
Well, they didn't make a sequel as of yet.
I didn't think they did.
Yeah.
And with Skybound having the license now for the comic books, there's always a chance they could come back to it. I don't know if Dark Horse still has the Terminator publication rights or not, but Skybound could definitely do that if they wanted to. But I think they're wanting to stay away from stuff like that right now because they're focused on their Energon universe. Mostly it's them and G.I. Joe right now, so I don't know if they're doing other character stuff right now. But with Kirkman and McFarlane Image Comics, you don't know what they'll do in the future.
Okay, yeah. So we both recommend it. It looks like I can't find the single issue prices because they don't have any listed. But you can get the paperback for about $20.
Yeah, it's not a high price paperback, just being 4 issues. And for 2020, for almost a 5-year-old comic, it still holds up. In my opinion, it still holds up. The artwork still holds up because, like I said, Alex Milne, Nick Roche, those were like your top two artists for IDW Transformer comics at that time. They're still doing stuff now. Nick Roche is working on the Earthspark cartoon. Alex Milne, I don't know. I haven't kept track of him. But their artwork still holds to this day. It's some of probably the fan community, some of their favorite versions of the Transformers, the stylized versions. And it changed over the years. From the beginning, it was more G1 style, and then as the years went on, they got more stylized and changed it up like that.
It was written good too.
It is.
Especially Sarah Connor. I loved her lines in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they did really good bringing the Terminator storyline and incorporating the Transformers into it and changing it up.
Yep.
No Kyle Reese, so maybe later on she would have met him and got pregnated and John Connor would have been born. But
True.
as of this comic, no Kyle Reese in this comic. But it's good. IDW was a really good run for Transformer comics. They ran a long time, 12 plus years. Sometimes it got a little convoluted because they were putting out a lot of content. At one time they had like 2 main books, mini series and one shots and stuff like that. So trying to keep track of both books, and each book had its own set of characters. One book was mostly in space with Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus and his crew of the Lost Light. Then you had another book, Robots in Disguise, that morphed into Optimus Prime. That was more of your Earth-based book. So it was a lot to consume. That's why my memory is not the best in the world, because I consumed all of IDW Transformers. So
when you're doing a lot of books, it all gets
it's a
fumbled
lot
anyway.
and Barber and the other writers and stuff. Their writing is very detailed, almost Grant Morrison like in a way sometimes. To where I'm reading stuff, I'm like, I don't know what you said, bro. I'm gonna have to
This
reread.
is too smart for me.
I'm gonna have to reread this. I don't exactly catch what you're handing out to me here. So
I do like the fact that it doesn't have any exposition boxes in it at all.
no.
Yeah.
And like I said, out of the crossovers that I remember and that I own of the Transformers from this era, this was the best one. They did a Ghostbusters one. They did a Back to the Future one. I've got the Ghostbusters. It's good. They had done a take on a G.I. Joe crossover, which was okay. Not my favorite. It was okay. But they were definitely more lighthearted. The Back to the Future, I don't know. I never read it.
I need to pick it up.
They did a Star Trek one. But this one is more serious. So I think if you are wanting to read an IDW crossover with Transformers, go for the Terminator one for sure. I think it'd be your best bet. Hitting the Ghostbusters is pretty good, but the Ghostbusters is more lighthearted. It's going to be.
More like PG.
It is. It's going to be, because the Ghostbusters, they're more PG-13.
All right. So I guess we're ready for questions
We are.
and comments and all that good stuff.
All that good thing.
Well, let's just start with this. It's from our good friend Vampiro.
Vampiro. All right. Now, this has got to do with our last episode, The Killing Joke. And he sent us an email. And it says, "My fine bearded brethren, I was today years old when I found out The Killing Joke had been recolored. I've got the first printing of it, but scoped out a digital copy, and wow, the new version is amazing. Thanks for the heads up on that." You're welcome, Vampiro.
That's cool.
When I learned the recolor and then seen it, that's like I said in the episode, I prefer the recolor. That's just me. Vampiro continues, "One quick note, if you're looking for more The Killing Joke adjacent stories, Batman the Man Who Laughs takes place about a month after the unnamed comedian's transformative swan dive into chemical waste and his first encounter with Batman afterwards. And also the Joker number 10, 2022 series, picks up life with the Gordon family after Barber's shooting and officially confirms whether or not Batman killed the Joker at the end of The Killing Joke." Now, you mentioned that to me, I believe.
I did,
Joker
yeah.
number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me. 3 Jokers would have dealt with the comedian, but has been deemed non-canonical. I remember hearing about the 3 Joker storyline, but I never read it.
It wasn't that great,
Wasn't that good?
in my opinion.
Okay. None of these stories are as high quality, but it's a fun dip back into the chemical splash world of The Killing Joke. See you next week, Vampiro 2K21.
Well, thank you, Vampiro.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate your correspondence with us every episode. Of course, me and you talk on the Discord, so it's really cool to stay in communication with you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we super appreciate it.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
All right, we got a question from Burger Champ,
Burger Champ.
and he's our buddy on the Retrovania Discord, which is a great Discord. His question is, How do you feel your tastes have changed in comics as you've gotten older?
I lean more toward mature comics, and I don't mean that as far as like violence and language and stuff like that, but I think a more intellectual a little bit, not just the goofy ha kind of kiddie stories. And like with my television and my movies, I like a comic book that's going to make me think, that's going to make me question some of the stuff that they're doing in the comic book, and don't get me wrong, I'm good for the good just popcorn comic book and just pictures and action stuff like that, but in a lot of the comics, definitely I'm more into the more thinking of the comics, the better writing and the deeper stories and stuff instead of just your surface level action stuff like that, But I don't get me wrong, again, like with Transformers, a lot of people say Transformers always says a toy line. Pick up the new Skybound comic and then come back to me on that one, because I'm sorry, that's probably some of the best Transformers comic book writing I've seen in a long time. Daniel Warren Johnson just blows that out of the water. So what about you, man?
I would definitely agree with all that too. For me, when I first started out, it was just because the characters were based on characters I liked,
Yeah.
and that's what grabbed me. But now, that's still part of it, but it needs to be a well thought out story as well. Like, I like to not see what's coming. That's probably the biggest changes. I like the surprise.
Yeah, I don't like being hand-fed information. I like to be able to kind of think about it, kind of figure stuff out on my own, what's happening in the story,
Yeah,
Definitely a good story for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I just love the journey of it as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I like the character building is a big thing for me too. You used to, when you're younger, like, yeah, you don't really think about it. You just like to see characters that you watched on TV or toys that you own. But as we've gotten older, like, yeah, definitely character building. And a lot of these comics, they'll build stories for years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't get a payoff till like 5 years down the road, maybe, or a
Yeah.
couple of years down the road. And then you get the payoff of something that they started all those years ago. And that's good story writing. I think a comic book that's makes it to, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of issues, like with your X-Men going to 700 issues.
Yeah.
That's a testament. Granted, I know writers have changed. I get that. But it's a testament to those writers that they've kept that interest in fans to keep that book that popular and in that in the fans' minds where they can keep it going all these years later.
That's one thing I like too, is like you get into a comic later on, and a lot of companies like to revamp them, restart them, and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
they want to reinvent stuff. DC's bad about doing that with their Crisis and stuff. So
Well, for me, when I was first getting into it, it's like you read an issue and it's like, well, this is an interesting story, and then they say, well, this happened in so-and-so issue. It'd make me want to go back and find that issue,
Yeah.
because it seemed really interesting.
for sure, yeah.
And that's how I came across like the trial of Magneto and stuff like that. It was mentioned in like a very later issue.
Yeah, and they did that purposely. They're like, well, we're going to throw this in here.
Yeah.
This little footnote to get somebody to read another comic book that we did.
And it sends you down the rabbit hole of finding all these characters'
Dude,
backstories.
comic book reading and collecting, this definitely can be a rabbit hole for sure. You have to. There's so many books out there that I'd love to tap into, but just can't do it. So I have to pick and choose what I want to collect and what I want to read. So
Question from Brittany, right?
yeah, Brittany, yeah, she's a coworker of ours, and her question was, how did the theme song to the podcast come about, and the name of the podcast? How did we come up with that? The name actually was kind of a collaboration between the both of us. We were kind of going back and forth with what we wanted to call the podcast. We didn't want something just plain and non-interesting, and we both got some facial hair, Sean a little bit more than I do, but so we're just like, what about something with beards in the name, and then geeks. Let's take the word geeks back. It's not a bad word anymore in the fandom, So we came up, with the geeks with beards. That's how the name. It's basically simple as that. We worked on it for a couple of weeks, shot ideas back and forth, and that's the one that we landed on. And I'm happy with it. I like it. I like that name.
I agree. She asked how fun was the recording of the theme song. All right, so the way this came about is I was sending our bass player in my band a track that needed some strings on it.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me the strings back, and I was like, you know what? Because we just decided on the name. I was like, could you make us a theme song? He goes, what do you want? I'm like, I don't care. Surprise me. I go, I need something catchy. And he goes, okay. And then about maybe 10 minutes later, he came up with that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He goes, I'm glad you sent me that. I was bored. I was like, well, you did an awesome job at it. So I asked him, I sent him this text message, how fun it was to make it. And he goes, and if you know my bass player, Chase, this is just his style. He goes, very fun.
Very fun. I've never had a conversation with Chase, but I have seen him a couple of times. He seems like a cool dude. And yeah.
He's so talented too. Like, I love Chase.
Yeah.
He learned our whole set in a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It's crazy. All right, so shout out to Chase.
Definitely shout out to Chase, man. Thank you so much for the theme song, man.
He plays bass in our band, Failure to Conform. You'll see us around if you're in East Tennessee. Was that all the questions?
I believe that was all the questions. We have one more comment, and this was on the Lasercomb podcast Discord, and it was by Christopher Siege, and basically his comment was about the the unnamed comedian's wife's death that we talked about. And his kind of theory was that what if the comedian killed her? Regarding the loser comedian's wife, I wouldn't call him a loser, but he did consider himself a loser, so
he was a loser.
Yeah. Regarding the loser comedian's wife dying of a freak electrical accident, perhaps it was the comedian himself in a disassociative state who did the deed in order to unlock the Joker persona, which was always under the surface. I mean, the reason he shoots Barbara is because he wants to prove that all it takes is something traumatic to unlock the insanity within. And, you know, we went back and forth for a few minutes on that one. That's not anything that even entered my mind. Because we thought it might have been, you know, the other mobster gangs, or it could have been an accident. I never one time thought that maybe he did it himself, because they played it off as him truly in love with her and so happy that they were, you know, that were going to have a baby. But, you know, of course, he was depressed because he didn't feel like he was going to be a great father or husband because no money was coming in. He was failing and everything. But yeah, I never even thought about that. What do you think about that, man? Is it a possibility, you think?
Absolutely. After he sent that, I was like, holy crap, that would make an excellent story. Like, if they did a one shot of that, just showing the background of what happened. And
that would definitely make Joker one dark son of a bitch, man. If you're going to kill your own pregnant wife. Granted, it would, like he said, it could be a disassociative state, so he wouldn't be in his right mind.
Yeah, it's just one of those like on the fly decisions.
It just happens. Yeah. Snap, you know, and then he would forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like multiple personality.
Yeah.
Like another personality came to the forefront, killed her, while he doesn't know anything that's going on. So when the police tells him, it's a complete shock to him. You know, so
I'm down with it.
I am too. Thank you so much, Siege, for that.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man, when you listen to this episode, man, just let us know. Contact me through the Discord, and any insight or thoughts you have on this episode for sure. Anything, man. But yeah, I want to definitely shout out to Siege and Neo Cal and Vampiro, all the guys that are on the Lasercomb podcast Discord and Too Much Energon podcast. Great set of guys. They inspired me to want to do this podcast, and which me and Sean had talked about it a lot before, but listening to them, and they not to be comparative, but I mean kind of like us in a way, kind of started out, you know, just wanted to do something fun that they liked. And theirs was talking about Beast Wars, Transformers, and reboot cartoon, and, you know, stuff like that. And ours is comic books, you know, various comic books and stuff. So definitely, I think a little bit of a kindred kind of situation there. Thank you guys so much for the inspiration, at least on my end, for sure, to want to do this. I really appreciate that.
If you guys want to send us comments, stories, questions, you can do it at geekswithbeardspod@gmail.com, or you can do it through our Facebook at The Geeks with Beards, or our Instagram at The Geeks with Beards.
The Instagram's popping a little bit, especially with that Green Lantern post you put on there for Kyle Rayner. Yeah,
apparently people like them. Some refrigerator women.
Some refrigeration women. Yeah. The Instagram's popping, man. And like always, you can find us anywhere you can listen to your podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube Music.
Yeah,
all those places. Please 5 stars. Whether you like us or not.
Yeah, if you hate us, tell us why you hate us, and then put 5 stars.
And then put 5 stars.
Helps us out.
We'll take the negative and the positive as long as it's 5 stars.
Hey, we'll learn from it. Just give us 5 stars.
Dude, we're learning from it, man. This is our 3rd episode. I'm proud of what we're doing. And I love all the interaction that we're getting from all of the listeners that we have. Vampiro, Burger Champ, our coworkers at Walmart, Siege, all the people that have asked questions and made comments. Thank you so much. Keep it coming. It keeps us happy, keeps us invigorated to keep doing this. You know, even though we're only 3 episodes in, we don't want to be one of those podcasts that are 10 episodes and done. You know, we would like to be able to do as long as we can. You know, we don't want to be one of those flash in the pans, you know, so definitely keep the comments, keep the questions coming, guys. For interaction is key. We love the interaction for sure.
Heck yeah, we do.
Now, what do we have for episode 4, Sean?
Speaking of episode 4, boom. We're going to Marvel for our first one.
Marvel.
And since Deadpool's coming out later this month,
Yes.
we're going to do Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
I've never read this.
Awesome. You're in for a treat. You've read the sequels and stuff, so
I own the sequel.
Yeah.
Which is weird. You wonder why I would have the sequel but not the original. I don't know. I don't explain what goes on in my head. I have no idea.
We'll find out, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out for sure.
So, yeah, here in a couple weeks, you'll see this coming out, and maybe we'll be talking about the Deadpool movie.
It's really a Wolverine movie, but
We'll discuss that at another time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you.
Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. We got beards. So listen clear. Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. I'm in your ear. So listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss. Just cuz. No, we ain't playing. And we're just saying. And we're making a podcast. It's cool.